Pixar just released Soul, their newest animated film. While their recent movies have been disappointing sequels and bland new IPs, not you Coco, you're amazing, this movie has a lot resting on it. Disney Animation Studios lineup is getting stronger and stronger by the day, and many people were saying this movie would make or break Pixar's rule as the best Disney animation subsidiary. TLDR, this movie had a lot on it. The first thing I said after this movie sums up my feelings pretty well. It was pretty good compared to the last two Pixar films, especially, excluding you, Coco. I do love you, I love you, I love you. But it could have been better. I'll try to keep this video as spoiler-free as possible, but I can only do so much. Please, still watch the film. It was a great movie. But before we actually get into this review, let's talk about the importance of this movie. I'm not going to talk about all the political stuff here. That's for Twitter and a few lines in the movie to handle. All I want to say about that is that they handled it pretty well. I still enjoyed the movie and felt like it wasn't talking down to me. And while it still pleased certain people who will not be named, I feel like it was a pretty good balance. I'm actually going to be diving into the pressure on Pixar for this film and the expectations of it. Pixar has always been regarded as one of the greatest studios, especially early to mid Pixar. Recently, with a few exceptions, they have had a falling from grace though. It's prompted them to begin a new series of IPs. These all began with the controversial Onward. I personally thought this movie was meh. My mom loved it, she literally cried, but to be fair, she cries on a lot of movies. There's a chance that it just did not land well with me, as I could not really connect to the characters, which seemed to be an important part to enjoying that film. But this video is on Soul, not Onward. So clearly with such mixed opinions, Soul would have to be the new introduction to the series of IPs. And this put a lot of expectations on it, as Disney Animation Studios has been working on a new series of movies. There was even a joke running around that Disney Animation Studios was going to be the next Pixar, as these movies look better and better by the day. When the teaser trailer for Soul launched, I straight away watched it. And boy did it excite me, but it also worried me. The trailer launched to a beautiful New York City skyline, a great score, and superb animation. Everyone raved about it. There was one thing I worried about though. I loved it. There was one thing that it just didn't sit well with me. I'm not sure if I can find it, as it was cut from the movie for good reason, and it seems to have just disappeared from the internet. But it was a little soul saying she wanted to be remembered for her little cowboy dance.
So what do you want to be remembered for?
Probably for doing this funny cowboy dance.
Great.
This just reeked Illuminations, from the delivery to the writing. And this made me worried about whether this was Pixar's second step towards the Illumination style. The first was franchise milking, by the way. The film was good. Not great, but good. I'm extremely glad they did not go the way of Illuminations. Soul does a lot of things okay, so we won't talk about those things. But I will talk about what was bad, pacing mainly, and what was good, the animation, the world building, and the humor. Pacing was the movie's main flaw. At times it was dreadfully slow, and others, there were just points where you felt like you were just experiencing story whiplash this way and that way. It really hurt the movie. I will admit that it got better as the movie progressed, but still held the movie back quite a bit. I can't tell if this was caused by last-minute restructuring. We literally had delete scenes in the trailer, COVID issues, what wasn't hurt by COVID, or something else completely. Now onto what the movie did well. There really isn't anything special in this movie animation-wise. It just has the Pixar magical touch. The colors, designs, movements, everything is just so good. I was actually a little worried about one part that was in the trailer where the 2D Soul World characters clashed with the real world characters in the same scene, but it did not clash as badly as I feared, so overall pretty good. It looks good, and that's all I ask for these days, is that it just looks good, and we got that. This was one of the highlights of the film for me. While there's a little too much explanation in my opinion, the majority of stuff you learn about the soul world is just by watching what happens. This shows great writing, so it requires more than just an explanation of what is going on in the world. Rather, it requires proper framing. Another thing I like is how they kept the great beyond so nondescript. I feel like this is an extremely good choice, as it allows all people of all beliefs to enjoy this film without the worry of being against their religion, unless you are like one of those ultra-religious people. Many people were praising this film on Twitter for its humor, but I don't think it was very groundbreaking. I definitely agree that it is better than the current status quo produced by some studios. The movie definitely had some childish jokes that did not land. The pizza scene was just horrible. But overall, the humor was very tolerable. I did notice that some trailer jokes were left out for good reason. That cowboy joke was truly awful. I do wonder what that cut was like. Maybe we'll see some info on it long in the future, kind of like how the planned Wild Times of Zootopia was released. Speaking of that, I may actually be starting a series diving into lost film ideas, but that is still a while away, and this video is almost over, so let's get into the overall. Overall, Soul was a pretty good film. It definitely had some weaker points. I did not love it as much as some others do, but I am excited to see that Pixar has a chance to stand up against their own partner Disney Animation Studios. This film excites me for what is coming up in the future from both studios. Sorry this took so long to make. I procrastinated quite a bit. I have been extremely busy between coding and streaming. By the way, thank you all so much for affiliate. I never thought we would get here so quickly. Also, expect more videos soon, not just the next Minecraft episode. Thank you for watching. This has been JRed, and see you guys later.